right? What we know and what the assumptions are, okay? And I don't want to make this like a big thing. In terms of, I don't want us to perhaps over assume, and like maybe put put too much light on a scenario where people want dark. They want darkness. They don't want their dirty laundry, right? And yeah, they may talk about it. I mean, we don't know if they'll be privy to say. We don't know if they'll want to say anything. But what we do know is that there are a number of people who are obviously being laid off at ArenaNet. The article from Kotaku obviously does make an assumption, like I said, that all of these people are working on projects that are not necessarily Guild Wars 2. They've been pushed away. Developers have been pulled away, like their resources have been pulled away from Guild Wars 2 and to work on other things. And there was another rumor that was provided by Delafina, aka Jessica Price, who said that whilst they were working on the living story, they had to work with less and less resource every single month or whatever it was. Every single project had less people, and they had to work with less people to achieve the same outcome. So I suppose if you want to take what Jessica Price says as pure fact, then maybe there is a lot of people that could be potentially laid off if it is the way that people are saying it is. If it is that people have been pushed away from Guild Wars 2 projects and they're working on other stuff, and the majority of people were doing that, then that might lead to mass layoffs away from the Guild Wars 2 IP. And yes, that might mean that's possibly why it takes a little bit longer. Zan, this is the Mistforged Glorious armor with the Exalted Shoulders and the Raven Helm. But yeah, it's unfortunate because obviously there's a lot of people that are losing their jobs, and it's not nice in this business when you hear about that. I mean, it's quite fucking sad, really, when you look at how the social media manager for ArenaNet responded to the Blizzard firings. The first thing they did was offer the Blizzard employees some work. They were like, well, we're hiring, all these people that just come out of Blizzard. They're like, oh shit, I can go and work for Guild Wars 2. That's still going. Cool. That's an MMO. Nice. And then they find out that ArenaNet's laying people off. So, there's things in the rumor mill which are suggesting that that there's possibly going to be older people that are leaving the company, and the newer people that will take lower salaries are going to be the people that replace them. You can sit here and you can guess, you can make wild guesses, but to be honest, like the only people that genuinely know what's happening are the people that are experiencing it right now, the people that were in the company meeting. Even Ruby was pretty upset. I don't know why Ruby would be upset. I think she's probably one of the main faces of ArenaNet at this point. But she could be targeted. And that's the thing. Nobody has said directly. I can confirm, I think, that there was one sound guy that has definitely left. He is aware that he's leaving and he's actively looking for work. I saw that because Ruby retweeted it on Twitter, and I don't know. I think his name was Damien or something, but or I think it was. I can't remember his name. I swear it began with a D, but I'm pretty sure that he has been removed from the company or will be removed from the company. He obviously is just taking charge of it. He doesn't care who knows. So he's actively searching for work, and he's publicly searching for work. And he was one of the sound guys. Now, yeah, so Torben, that begs the question, what happens to Guild Wars 2? Now, we've been told that Guild Wars 2 and Guild Wars 1 will continue to exist as a result of it. And that they'll continue to work on things like Living World Season 5. But essentially what's happened is NCSoft have turned around and said the operating costs in the West are way too high. And to counter that, they are well, because Guild Wars 2 isn't making enough profit, because the profit margins aren't enough to cover the salaries and the operating cost. They are removing a bunch of people from the company. They're doing mass layoffs in order to make more money, and then perhaps rehire people when they know perhaps what more they can spend. Guild Wars 2 is a very old intellectual property. It's something that has existed for a long time, and therefore it's subject to things like this. It's probably a long time coming. When Guild Wars 2 is suffering with content, it's going through these content droughts, and the only thing that's really keeping the game afloat is gem sales and mount skin sales. You know, I've been saying this for a while. You know, I've been saying Guild Wars 2 is a cash cow. Guild Wars 2 is being farmed off for money so that they can use these things on other projects. And now what do we find out? They've been siphoning off their resource onto other projects. I literally predicted this like 5 months ago, right? When I saw when I saw the mount skins packs come out, when I saw like the huge expensive fucking, the RNG mount licenses, when I saw all of this happening, it was textbook. And I told everybody it was going to happen. I didn't predict the layoffs. I didn't predict that, but I did predict that they were siphoning off stuff and money and resource to fund other things. And I personally think there is going to be a mobile game of sorts. They dabbled with the tarot cards. I'm dropping frames like a bitch. They dabbled with the tarot cards, and that I thought maybe there'd be a tarot game, like a tarot mobile game where you trade cards or something. But yeah, like nobody can really understand exactly what everybody's going through. Nobody can predict everything. You can make assumptions, as I said, but nobody knows apart from those people that have actually gone through it. So don't jump at Kotaku and take it all as fact, right? Just don't do it. Don't jump on that journalism and say, okay, that's fact, because it's journalism. It's sensationalist. It's out there. It's meant to make you go, whoa, holy shit, that sounds serious. Tarot Cards was a fan project not made by ArenaNet. I thought it was backed by them. But I'm not saying it's fake news. Okay, I'm not saying that. I'm not saying that it's not correct. I'm just saying that sometimes there are things that are sensationalist. I mean, dude, the one thing I remember from Kotaku is that they expressed a defensive opinion for Jessica Price. Like, that website as a whole is not something that I would say is credible. I mean, if it's a particular author, journalist that you think is better, then fair enough. Yes, of course, there's going to be multiple writers for Kotaku. Of course there is, and I don't deny that. You obviously have a personal opinion where you feel that Jason Schreier is going to be completely accurate. Again, he's a journalist. He studied journalism. He's worked in journalism. He will have integrity, but he may not get everything right. Journalists aren't always completely factually correct. And as I said, you will not know that until you speak to people that have actively gone through it. If a journalist writes something up with, reference to people that have actually gone through it, when the developers talk about what they've gone through, if they choose to talk about what they go through, to be honest, your best source of information right now is to follow the developers on Twitter. You can see that there's, I think her name is Jennifer Schuler or something. She is the lead game designer they just hired, and she doesn't even know if she's going to have a job. She actually stated she didn't know if she was going to have a job at the end of this, and she said that she'll know in a couple of days. So they literally just hired a brand new game designer, and they don't know if they'll have her anymore. Which is quite sad. I think that, especially when you go into a new job, you kind of expect to hold that job for a little while. She's obviously one that's going to be immediately in the firing line because she'll still be on her probation, and therefore she's not, fully in depth with the company. She's not like welcomed in 100%. She's still on the edge. But yeah, Akujin, basically what's happened is operating costs in the West are too high. The game, ArenaNet as a company, the Guild Wars 2 company are not making enough money in the PC gaming industry, and therefore they want to do layoffs, mass layoffs. And that is what the topic is. I'm not happy with it. I mean, nobody ever will be. It's people that I know that are being affected. You know, from the social media side to the partner side to the fucking development side. I don't know. I'm uncertain. I said, I messaged Ben. I messaged ArenaNet Ben, and I was like, I don't know what to say. I was like, I hope that you're okay. I didn't want to message him about it because I thought it was insensitive of me to pry into his personal life. And it's one of those things where you sit there and you're like, God damn. Like, that's fucking insane. That this sucks. It's somebody's livelihood. It's their families. Like, they have mortgage repayments. They have, health care that they might have to be paying for. And when you completely remove somebody's salary, when they go from fucking 5 figures a year to nothing, it's pretty fucking scary. So yes, they've actually started. Well, they will be firing people in the next couple of days. Return favor. They will be. ArenaNet are doing mass layoffs, Joseph. So it's did ArenaNet post profits for last year? They post their quarterly profits every single time. The thing is, right, guys, this whole thing, this whole discussion is not something that has stemmed, or sorry, all this activity has not stemmed from ArenaNet. Okay, ArenaNet were quite happy with the way things were. As far as like ArenaNet as a company operating and stuff, they had profits. I think they even stated that they made was it 19 million? I think it was 19 million dollars last year in profit or something. But NCSoft don't see that as enough, and NCSoft is obviously the parent company to the subsidiary that is Guild Wars 2, and I think I think what obviously they are concerned with is that the operating costs in the West are going up. PC gaming as a whole is falling. The money that people are making through MMOs it's not great anymore. Mobile gaming is taking over. NCSoft, their profit margins were like 50% plus up on mobile gaming. Like the majority of their the money that they were making was coming from mobile games. So it's basically operating costs up, gaming industry is plummeting a little bit in this market, and I wouldn't be surprised if they were trying to siphon off development resource into mobile apps and stuff that would enable NCSoft or whatever to operate in like Korea and China and that whole mobile market that is booming over there that makes all this money on microtransactions and stuff like that. They made 99 million USD profit. Yeah, but that's not ArenaNet alone. That's not ArenaNet alone. But yes, it's obviously less money, but just talking about ArenaNet as a company, NCSoft, they're not going to be pulling people from ArenaNet just to cover their own profit backs on other projects, right? That's not going to happen. I don't think that they would do that, because if one company is like making a lot of profit, compared to other companies that obviously are subsid, then it wouldn't make sense to siphon off. You would kind of like downscale the company that's not making a lot of money, unless you saw like really good potential in it, and you might siphon into and then big up that company in order to grow its profits. I don't think that ArenaNet, I don't think Guild Wars 2 is going to be the next WildStar. I don't think that's a thing. I think there's no need to exaggerate. They've just made a new mount for World v World. There's still going to be development processes in Guild Wars 2. There's still going to be regular content. The only thing that is uncertain is whether or not there will be another expansion or another, IP. So Guild Wars 3, for example, or a continuation of the IP, I should say. I don't know if that would happen. If they are getting rid of developers that are working on other resources, then you have to question how they would build something like Guild Wars 3, given the fact they have less development resource. So, yeah. My title's clickbait. But, yeah. You see, like, I'm an ArenaNet partner. I make content for Guild Wars 2 for ArenaNet. And I've been hoping and praying that there would be well, I was going to say an expansion, but I don't think that that's strictly true anymore. That's been my opinion shaping for the last few months, mainly because that I feel like every single time that they introduce another expansion, everything goes tits up. The balance changes, the game just like becomes really confusing to a lot of people. Other expansions become like non-factor, so HOT elite specs became irrelevant when POF specs came out. The power creep is just forever growing. Defensive creep, healing creep. So this is obviously like all in a PvP stance, but I would say that like having a clean slate would be great. Having Guild Wars 3 would be great, but I think it'd be quite naive of me to sit here and assume that they would do that. So I've been hoping and praying as a partner, as somebody who, you know, would shill that game like a bitch and play that game every fucking day and, you know, stream it and whatever. I do not think that it will happen anymore, because just how does it happen? You know, how do you when you're literally getting rid of developers that are not working on Guild Wars 2, these other developers, these other resources that are working on other projects, we don't know what they are. When you get rid of them or when you siphon them off, like, how do you build other stuff? So yeah, it's one of them things. I'm concerned for my future as a.
You are being shagged by a rare parrot.
Anna, thank you very much. Thank you. I don't want this to sound selfish, so I'm saying this in as like a light way as possible. But I'm concerned for myself as a content creator that operates around Guild Wars 2 and ArenaNet, because if they are uncertain as to how the company continues, how do I know how long Guild Wars 2 continues? How long do I know that I'm going to receive active updates that I can create content for? Because if I stay with Guild Wars 2, I mean, not to say that I don't like the game, but if I stay with the game, my ability as a content creator will wane. I will run out of ideas. If they're not giving me content to actively make content on, then I will run out of ideas. You know, there's only so much PvP I can play around POF, HOT, and core before I run out of stuff. So it's like, from my perspective as well, it's making me sit here and go, oh shit, what are my options? And I know that Teapot feels the same way. I saw him post something in his Discord where he said something along the lines of, we relocate soon. Because obviously, he's not happy about the World v World mount for one, but obviously there's a lot of people, or a lot of things that he's not happy about in the current state. So, I mean, there's nothing that is really threatening me. Me as an ArenaNet partner, I'm not losing anything. I'm still gonna, get everything that I had before. I still have access to everything I had before. I've literally lost nothing. Obviously, it's only the ArenaNet the ArenaNet developers that have lost anything. They or will be losing things. They're losing their friends. They're losing, the size of their teams. They're gonna have to work even harder now to make up the same goals with less people. But that's the assumption that they're taking people directly from their teams and not just from siphons from other projects. You can go back and watch the VOD, Kujin. It was Teapot, but yeah. But see you later. Yeah. So like, me personally, I'm not losing anything. Every ArenaNet partner is not losing anything. The only thing that's really affected is the development team and however they've been siphoned off. And it's pretty unfair because ArenaNet didn't really know that it was going to happen. They maybe Mike O'Brien knew, maybe. Again, how do you prove that, right? But all they know is that NCSoft just sent down a bloody email stating that they were doing layoffs, and then straight away this whole thing rolled out, and Mike and a bunch of other people had to obviously have meetings, and everybody in the company, I think, was spoken to at some point yesterday, somehow via meetings, and they were very transparent with them. So it seems like people have walked away from the meetings, I don't know, like kind of happy, kind of like, you know, they were happy that they were so transparent with them and not just saying like, you know, I don't know. Like, I think they told people if they weren't going to be fired, then they wouldn't be fired. And if they were possibly going to be fired, then they said that to them. You know, they gave them that kind of like, you know, just that little bit of, what's the word? Just, I don't know. They just helped them out a little bit by giving them that transparency. I still haven't woken up completely yet. You feel like casuals have enough content by now? Robin, the game as a whole is for casuals. It is tailored to the casual audience. Everything in this game is enabled for casuals. There is nothing really elitist in this game. Even the challenge mode is not really elitist. It's not. You can only do it once a week, right? And actually, wait, is that true? Yeah, it is. It is, isn't it? It is once a week. I don't raid enough to know that. I'm pretty sure it's once a week. You can do one challenge mode a week. So, you know, you can't even really farm the bosses anyway. Like, there's nothing about bosses or about raiding rather, that is like beneficial to anybody that wants to do it more than once. Same goes with like fractals. You can only do it once a day. You know, they've removed a lot of the they removed monthlies, right? The monthly, so now you have dailies, but you don't have your monthlies anymore because, well, for whatever reason, I'm assuming there were people who couldn't find time to do everything that was in the monthly. You can do challenge mode once, period. I mean, well, there you go then. All right, so there's me being uneducated in this regard. It's once, period. Period. Casual as fuck. God damn, dude. So I mean, that just exaggerates my point even more. I thought it was bad once a week, let alone being once a fucking ever. Like, that's ridiculous. Holy cow. That is horrible. Shit. So I mean, yeah, as I'm saying, that is, wait, you can do CM more than once per character. Yeah, but no, Saj, there's nothing called challenge mode in WoW. The only thing that's in WoW is, Mythic is the challenge mode, I suppose, but it's the hard mode, really. They don't have, like, this challenge mode, like, effect. With WoW, it's just, if you do an unlock, that's it. Raid CM rewards once per account. I mean, that's just ridiculous. So, anyway, yeah, so we're digressing, but just as a TLDR, too long didn't read. NCSoft made requests to ArenaNet to essentially fire a bunch of developers that were possibly working on projects that did not include Guild Wars 2. Guild Wars 2 is not earning enough money for ArenaNet. ArenaNet's profit margins are not high, or not high enough. And because of operating costs in the West, NCSoft are trying to save more money by essentially eliminating a bunch of developers away. And by doing so, they bring their their profits back up by, you know, obviously welcoming that money back in on the next quarter. So there are a bunch of developers that will be, you know, waking up possibly Monday morning with no job. And we have to, you know, understand that there's a lot of people that will be feeling very sensitive about that. And don't expect people to be very transparent with you in regards to who's been let go, why they were let go, if they were as, you know, replaceable as ArenaNet deemed them to be or NCSoft deemed them to be. There's a lot of people who will be very, very upset, and I think it's important that the community as a whole show them support. If you if you do stop seeing certain developers around, or stop seeing certain people on Reddit who, there are development team people everywhere who get involved with the community. If you stop seeing them, chances are you may have, you may see a post from them, I suppose, letting everybody know that they're not going to be there anymore. But it is a really sad time, and as I did say, I think that it does potentially put up warning flags, warning signs for the continuation of Guild Wars 2 as an IP. And it does worry me a little bit. I don't know how much content I'm going to get. I don't know if the Living Story episodes are now going to, be released even less frequently. So we might be looking at every 4 months, every 3 months. We don't know how many development people we're losing. And if it's people that are working on the Living Story, or if it's people that are working on Guild Wars 2, or if it's people that are working on these other projects. Again, we don't know where exactly they're pulling these people from, so we have no idea. And therefore we have to, maybe make a few assumptions, but not jump directly to the full assumption where we are just like overreacting. That we could still get enough content, we could still be okay. The game could continue as is, but I think it's very selfish for us to sit here and potentially worry too much about that when there's so many people who are affected by this and their livelihoods, and it's more about them and their jobs, not so much about us playing a game. The game has been here for like 6 years. We've got more than enough out of it. If it died tomorrow, then I think people are okay. That's it. You might have put money in, but you've played the game. You've got your hours worth. You've got enough out of this game that you probably, you should be quite content with it. But there is a lot of people who are literally losing their livelihoods. They're putting their family in danger. They're not being able to fucking pay medical bills or pay their mortgage or whatever. And I think that's a big issue. So if you do see any like developers, or if you want to support developers, feel free to at them on Twitter or whatever, and just say that you are in support of them if you wish. But don't bug them for information. Don't bug them for their personal stance. Don't ask them questions. Just say that you're there to support them if that you're thinking of them, and don't pry. But yeah, that's basically everything that's happened, or everything that we know has happened in the last 24 hours. So yeah, that is it. That's probably as much as I'm willing to spend covering this issue. It's been almost 30 minutes, I think, that we've discussed this now. So yeah. And yes, there are layoffs.